Oh, approval. Sorry, my fault. Okay, do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Does somebody want to add something to it?
No.
Okay, excellent. Then I'm making a motion that we approve it as written.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Ron, second. All those in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, now we're at the property owners. 3 minutes. You can address the mic up there. Tell us your name and the property where you live.
Brandon Coy, 37 Keosauqua Drive. We're on the lake committee, and you guys have turned the boat fishing back over to us to come up with our ideas for it and stuff. And we were wondering what some of your ideas were. We have kind of looked at it, and our main idea is like the way your rule reads right now, for everything that's prohibited, to take out just the word bow fishing, just to remove it. And leave everything as is and continue on, because the way we're looking at it, there's going to be less than 1% of the people living in the village that are going to do the actual bow fishing. So,
Was that in your guys' list?
or anything like that?
Was that in your lake report? Okay, I thought I read it somewhere.
Yeah.
You wanted us to take it out.
Well, that's what we would like, as a committee, we would like you guys to remove the word clove fishing and the stuff that is illegal to do on the lakes,
Okay.
and make bow fishing legal.
And I'm going to make that motion for you, that we remove the word bow fishing from the lake, from that particular documentation. Because it shouldn't hurt to do that, as long as you're smart and help us maintain the quality of the lakes.
Correct, that's the way we were looking at it. It's a benefit to the
Good
lake.
names too, by the way.
Yeah, we've got one for a minute. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else would like to address the commissioners before we get started? Anybody else? Okay, let's get on with our working meeting. Old business, special planning committee update. Jonathan?
Speak loud.
Speak loud? Okay, I can do that. Pretend microphone. Not a lot to report. We just wanted to, because it's usually on the agenda, we just didn't want Susan to have to say nothing to report, but I'm here to say nothing to report. But just to let you know that the study group continues to meet. As a reminder to the commissioners, this group has zero authority. It's a group of about 10 villagers who meet monthly, and we're really looking at really long-range issues that really, most of it revolves around revenue. So it's just digging deep into what are the current revenue streams, what are the possible opportunities to grow those revenue streams, expand those revenue streams, what's coming down the pike in terms of assessments and financial stability issues. So it's really looking at really complex issues, and we do it. We have some sub-working groups, and then we come back together and we meet monthly. There's nothing secretive about the work that we're doing. Again, we have no authority, but it's just trying to dig deep into some of the issues and ask some of the bigger questions. If and when we have anything to report or advise or recommend, we'll ask to be on the agenda, and we'll bring that forward to you. Our goal is to continue to meet and work on these issues into next year, and at the point at which we have anything, again, to recommend, or just to share with you the research that we've collected, so that you've got that to read and to understand on some of the issues that we're looking at. So happy to answer any questions, but at this point, the group continues to work, but there's nothing to report. So if you want to not put it on the agenda in the future, and when we're ready to report, we can request to be added to your agenda.
Well, Jonathan, you are looking at long-term, so that we can say, after the point where we're no longer eligible to collect fees, that we have a continuation of the wonderful Cherokee Village that you know.
That's right, yeah, at the core, you're correct, but the core is really long-term financial sustainability of the suburban improvement district and the protection of the amenities.
And that's where I've had several people come and talk to me and tell me that pages full everywhere. Tell me to come out, and we really do need to report to the public even some of the questions that you're addressing during this meeting that you're having, so that people are aware.
Well, like I said, we, as a group, we've agreed that until we have something to report, we're not really going to report, because it's just an ongoing dialogue where we're researching and discussing options, because when we look at long-term financial sustainability, there's some difficult questions in there. We're trying to do some of the legwork to ask some of the difficult questions and also weed through where we see possibility and where we don't see possibility. And so anything that we discuss and do will come in a report, whether we agree with it or recommend it or not. We'll say we looked at X, Y, and Z. Here's what we recommend. And so, but there's not really anything for us to report on an ongoing monthly basis. That's why I wanted to come to you to let you know we're working, but there's nothing to report at this point.
See, what my idea was when we started this was that we really had like 5, 10, 15-year plans in place that keeps it forward with our amenities, what we can build on for the future and everything. Is that what you guys are trying to do?
Yeah, so we're looking at revenues, we're looking at property owner engagement, we're looking at lots, we're looking at long-term financial sustainability. So we have 4 areas that we're looking at. A lot of them intersect and overlap, but you know, in terms of that long-term, is if the assessment ends, when does that happen? What is the impact? What's the potential to replace that revenue? And so it's looking at really kind of big, complex questions. It's just taking time to sort through.
Right. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, for people who don't know, anyone can attend those meetings, and they're publicized, so please, if you have...
Well, actually, no, they're not really open meetings. It's not that there's anything secret, but we're just diligently working through complex issues. So it's not like a town hall meeting.
I understand that, but people really want to have a voice, and maybe there's a group of individuals that are part of this that can be contacted for any of those questions. You might not have to go to a meeting. The original concept that I had years ago was to have an open session where people could really identify issues with Cherokee Village that we could reasonably resolve.
Yeah, and I don't mean that to say that people are welcome. What I mean is that we're a real working group. It's really, we're not just visiting. We're really working on difficult issues. And so 10 people is a lot of people. And so we don't want to grow that because we think it will hamper our ability to really dig deep into these issues. The group is a fairly diverse group in terms of opinions. And so what I would say is that what we're doing doesn't preclude anybody else from studying or thinking about these issues or coming to you. We're not exclusive. We don't have an exclusive right to do that. So, but they're not really public meetings for a big group to attend. We're just a working study group.
Would it be okay with one of us drop by just to watch them?
Yeah,
Not put input.
And
and Susan comes as an observer, and so,
Just
but,
watch,
yeah, absolutely. So it's just, we're just trying to keep it constructive. And so we're not, you know, we've got a pretty constructive, diverse group, and so we're just trying to keep it moving, because it is some complex, deep issues, so.
That sounds really good. However, when people aren't available, they consider it to be secretive, and that's the comment that I was driving before, where they could actually go to someone other than a commissioner like myself. And that's why I wanted to...
Yeah, if someone's got an idea, they're welcome to bring that to me. And so, obviously, we're not secret of it because I'm here talking about it, but if someone's got a particular idea or interest, Paul Hinch is on the committee, Dick Sackett is on this working group, Steve Reagan is on the working group, Russ and Debbie Stokes are on the working group, Mike Myers is on the working group, and so you can go to Jim Lyle is on the working group, so any of those individuals, if you want to visit with them and say, hey, I've got an idea, or absolutely bring that to their people.
Thank you.
You bet.
Next, have you all read the firehouse lease agreement that we're going to present to the city? It's legally.
You can get that at Walmart.
Yeah. I think it's fair, equitable, and
It seems like one of those things where
you got to do it.
we can submit it to the city, let them,
I mean, for a whole dollar a year.
let them come back and take everything.
Right.
They're working good.
So I need a motion to have Betsy present this to the city, and
So question, you want to do it for the dollar a year and not for the insurance premium? I thought that's what
We're gonna talk about.
Because
the insurance, the conversation with the insurance people has gotten bigger.
bigger. Probably looking around 1,400 between the three, but we're not gonna have all those rates back until the first of the year.
So I think we need to hang on to this until we get all that,
Yeah.
because we just want to pay for the, whatever the insurance is. Not gonna be a moneymaker for it, it's gonna be them paying insurance if that's what they want to pay.
so
The actual insurance
We want to
adjuster,
just table it.
table it
If
for
they're good home business.
Please,
I need a motion.
You said you won't get to the first of the year.
till January, yes, it won't be on the December meeting. And the gentleman that came out and did the inspection of the property suggested that we give the city, possibly the city needs to look at what they're covering. We don't need to both cover the exterior of the building. We need to cover the building, they need to cover the contents, and that would probably help them on their side of the premiums as well. It looks like we're both covering the same on the exterior, and maybe that will help offset that.
So we want to table this till January,
Okay.
and should we have Betsy enter into negotiations with them on this? Well, to finish, get this finished, so that when January comes, we can.
We need to find out, like you said, with the insurance, you said, no, the city does pay
speaking
some
of your
insurance. The city does pay some insurance on the exterior, is that correct?
Right now, the city is willing to, we have the whole, we're waiting on information from the municipal.
Okay.
Okay, well, let's table it to January. Any motion?
Make a motion to table it till January.
Do I have a second? Got a first and a second. Let's, all those in favor? Opposed? Table till January. Okay, next is waste management land purchase offers. Is there anybody here? Nobody.
Did we find out what properties are actually SIDs last month?
Yes, so after the meeting, I went to Fulton County and sat with Lavina, the assessor, and basically we own on the left side of the driveway pulling into Waste Management where the model airplane is, and we own on the right side of it, of the driveway. They were just given permission to put their driveway through that center lot. That Appaloosa, I believe it was called Apalsa, whatever that subdivision was that was in question, is not owned by Sid. And the other property that they were asking for isn't even in Cherokee Village. So they came back to the office, I showed them what Lavina had given me, and I sent them back to Fulton County. They didn't think that the information I gave them was correct. I sent them back to Fulton County and I haven't heard from them. So really and truly, the only thing you would have the option to talk about would be where the model airplane
some discussion, sorry.
Discussion?
If we drop it, if they come back to us, do we have to go old business, new business, old business, all over?
No, I'd say just to be back to old business.
We do.
Right, yeah.
Do we have to put it?
It'll be back to old.
Back to old business. If
That's
they-
all right.
If they figure out what they.
That's okay, okay.
Yeah.
I just would hate if they come back to us, I think they'll blame me anymore.
Okay.
I have a motion with a second. All those in favor?
Fine.
Opposed? Motion carries. Employee hearing notices again, folks.
Lake management update.
What's that?
Lake management updates now.
I already checked that, sorry guys. I'm glad you keep me in mind, I already checked it out. Lake management update, go ahead. Where was it?
I forwarded to y'all both the minutes from the meeting and her different background that she had picked up, the different rules on the different types of bow fishing, since that was something that they wanted to discuss. So I forwarded those to y'all.
I think, I think until we get that comprehensive biological survey and report back, I think we need to try to make the rules based on surface opinions. I mean, the biological data will tell us what we need to know. I got a couple of shaky issues with the whole thing. They did it in the cold. They're shocking in 6 foot of water. The majority of fish in the lakes are in 20 foot of water at this time of year. I can not show them where they're at. But it is, I would rather see the biological paper before we make decisions. One of the statements was made, just preliminary decision, that we don't have any grass carp problems, they only shocked up one. Well, I can tell you there's probably 5,000 of them in Omaha, and I can tell you right where they're at. Because they're in about 18 foot of water, we can go out there and pet them if you want to get that deep. But anyway, that's beside the point. There's some of the stuff has some discrepancies, but I would rather have concrete paperwork, because he said he would have that comprehensive report towards the end of the year, and that would help us to make decisions. As far as bow fishing, I've always said all along, we need to go with Arkansas Game and Fish Commission rules on bow fishing, wherever that is. There is something that we are going to have to decide as a group of commissioners, because Arkansas does allow the use of airboats in lakes for bow fishing. It's a very obnoxious critter. They're very loud, very dangerous. And so we would need to, as private lakes that are governed by Arkansas Game and Fish Commission, we would need to make a decision that, just like it would be no different than wake boats or jet skis or anything like that, that we do not want airboats on the lake. So that would be something we would have to consider in the bow fishing thing.
Okay. I never even thought of airboats.
They're out there.
So your thing is to keep this in old business until we get our.
So we get a comprehensive with the data. I want to see the data, because some of the things in the lake committee said, well, we'll put a moratorium on any kind of lake tournaments, or there isn't any tournaments other than just a group of about 10 old guys that get out and fish on Tuesday nights. And that is 100% catch and release. I mean, so we're not keeping anything or anything like that. So it really that would have not had an effect on lake management as far as I'm concerned. But I would like to talk to them about that.
So that, I mean, there was a line in that, in the minutes that we got from the Lake Committee about stopping that, but you're saying catch and release, so what's the problem?
Right, that would be my opinion, but we could wait until we get our report back.
Okay.
Well, the biologist, from what I understand, was he from Bella Vista?
The biologist was from Bella Vista that worked with our guy
Who
from
was
Lake
a biologist?
Management.
Right, so we had 2 biologists look at it. The one guy is from Bella Vista and has done a fantastic job in fisheries management over in Bella Vista. So if you talk to anybody that lives over there, the walleye populations are good, their bass are good. It's just a mecca for great fish habitat and so forth. He's a great guy to have here. And he was here helping our man, Mr. Klein, who is a biologist, conduct this survey. So they shot Sequoia, Thunderbird, and Omaha in this first preliminary report. And that will give us the data when he gets it all put together.
keep this whole business until we get
I would.
the data back from the biologists.
Yes, I would.
January,
You think January or December?
well, they said end of the year, so I would think that would be after our meeting.
January.
Okay, so it's
Christmas.
January. I'd make that motion to move it, to keep it on the schedule, keep it on the agenda.
Do I have January business? Do I have a second on that?
Second.
Ron, second, all those in favor? Motion carries.
Thank you, Joe, for
Yes.
all that extra work you've done to help me understand a little bit about losing fish hooks.
Okay, employee year-end bonuses.
We did have that from the minutes of December last year.
Reggie was gonna
If we
give
stay
us,
within our budget, that will be a 2%. We already voted that in.
So y'all gave a 4% increase, the same as you did the previous year, with an option of a 2% bonus at the end of the year if we stay underneath our controllable expenses. We have done so, really was killed our budget, was our big hit to the waterworks. But we stayed under our controllable expenses of $427,000. Every one of our categories has been under budget. And again, when I say controllable expenses, those are things that were in the budget, not things that we chose to spend after our budgets were approved from our capital money. Altogether, between our full-time employees that work 12 months of the year, we're looking at the total of the 10% as $10,054. I'd like to give that at the employee luncheon on the 12th.
How many full-time employees? Excuse me.
22. Those are not to say that they're a full-time employee, but they're an employee that works with us 12 months out of the year.
Okay.
And the 2% is based upon what their salary or what their wages would be for that 12 months. Because that would have been a 6% increase if we had done it that way.
Since we've already approved.
yeah, I think we just need to.
I just get some numbers.
Yeah. I think it needs to be voted on that it's, that y'all agree.
Yes.
You didn't approve it in December last year. You said if we met. And we
Which
met.
needs to be approved, so it's approved. No. It needs to be.
I just think it needs to be voted on myself. No,
Just make a motion.
Oh, I make the motion to pay the higher rate to the year-round employees.
The 2%?
So then 2% of the cost.
Yeah. And that,
They make their budget so
that's
that
2%.
2% is not the total.
That's
2% of the 22 employee salaries, which totals $10,054.
Gotcha. That's it.
That's it. And we have a motion for the approval.
I think Susan already did the motion.
Okay.
Not bad one.
Okay, I need a second. Tony seconds, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, new business, we can start talking about next year's assessment levy percentage.
I received a letter from Alicia Black that just asked that we notify them of what your levy percentage is going to be for 2025. This is something we do every year, which is, it's on new business, which means it could be pushed to the December meeting. They don't send their billing out until March, but they might get sooner than later, so that's why it's on the agenda.
Any discussion on what we need to go to this year on the levy?
Can you not do that over the whole business?
What do you say?
What do you say?
So the discussion is.
We can have discussion now.
New business should be discussion. Old business will be the vote.
But it should be less than last year, because we used maximum for a couple of years in a row. So we need to take a look at our property owners and say, hey, we've done the maximum this time. This year, we're not going to do that. Whether it turns out to be whatever it is.
What do you think, not maximum?
What have you figured your budget on this year? Have you figured it at all?
I am working on the budget now, and of course, this
So
will
you
play
gotta
a
wait
big
till-
role in it. I'll tell you what I'm seeing from, 10/31 year dates compared to what my budget was. We're about $500,000 less in assessments, which we may pick up next year in delinquent assessments. But there's a real pattern out there of people who own lots that let their lots go delinquent 2 years. And then when it's fixing to get foreclosed on, all of a sudden they catch it back up. And so we see some of those trends when I'm trying to forecast my budget. Right now, I'm looking at actuals from the last 2 years, so that would be at the 10%. If I'm seeing a $500,000 loss in assessments or lower collection in assessments, I sure can't go down on my levy because I've only got about $800,000 a year in capital improvement money that we've been spending. So that would be cutting our feet out from underneath us and leaving us with only about $300,000 in excess funds from what our previous budgets have been. I will tell you that I've had conversations with the engineer. That's coming sooner than later. I expect us to see a hit with that in 2025. Probably fall is when we'll start seeing some of that transpiring. And he told us in January we'll have a written plan from him. I've discussed with him our 2 leaks at the spillways at Navajo and at Omaha. Where we sent some video over to him in the first of the year. We're going to have those repairs that are going to be getting made. I think we're going to sandbag them before the first of the year so we can get down there and clean them out and get it ready and do some work on both of those. So we have some things coming up. Something to think about.
Can you write everything up that you just discussed and send it to us?
Sure.
That way we know what we're looking at.
Okay.
I know the engineer on the dam over there on Sequoia, is that part of that report that's going to be coming?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. But the spillway is something in addition to.
Right, yeah, I understand that. Omaha Sequoia too. Now, Omaha Sequoia. You guys have any more discussion? Okay, 2025 fees for the amenities.
I put the little green folders in there. Those are the little folders that we update every year. It has all the fees in there. At this time, I don't have any suggestions of any increases. I think the increases we did last year have done very well for us. I'm shocked at how we went from 8,000 to 12,000 on admissions at the swimming pool this year. That was a huge improvement. So I feel like what we're doing is working, and let's keep rolling with that maybe for another year and figure out if we really need to do another increase. My suggestion this year would be, I don't see anything that we need to increase. But those are all the fees in there, so by the next meeting, if there's something in there that you want to increase. I did forward y'all something from a property owner about wanting to decrease or to put a third category at the golf course for guest fees. I forwarded you that information, and you'll see where I highlighted in black my questions back to him and his responses. So you have those that would be taken into consideration with these amenity fees.
Okay, yeah, I read that. I thought it was a good idea. I read it.
I'll second that.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Well, I liked the idea for the golf committee.
Right.
Yeah, I think that letting our guests use our punch cards is a little extreme, but I think the golf committee had a good suggestion and an easy way for us to be able to tear that down and charge it on our POS system. That would just be for property owners, yes.
Yeah, property owners, yes.
Not for all guests.
Yes, yes.
All guests. Was it?
No, not for all guests, it's for property owners, yes.
Yes, yes. Okay.
Well,
So motion to move it to old
It
business,
goes over this,
yes, from the road.
new to old, we're good.
Cover some fees
Yeah.
Hey, that's your update.
Oklahoma demo update. We are more than 50% through. All the concrete is busted up. I'd say there's about 20% of the concrete left to come out, and weather permitting, they're going to start hauling dirt in. So it's amazing that the vision that you can see out there now that it's gone, and I can't even imagine once it's level, it'll even be a better vision of what can be done there next. But it really does look good. I would say at the next meeting that maybe that would be something we could put on the agenda, would be for ideas of some things we'd like to go back with.
Yeah, like I said, I like some pickleball courts back there.
I think that'd be a
They
good
can't
idea.
put solar on top of it, so that way cut down on our electric bill.
I think that would be one of several things we could do back there. It's a lot of space. It's a lot of space wide, and now it's all level, and it looks really good.
Okay.
Thunderbird roofs have been completed. Just paid Callie on Friday. Everything looks great there. We have a lot more of rot up underneath that flat roof part than we realized, but she took care of all of that for us. They are solid and dry. The last rain proved us to be completely dry, and that was the test I think at the time, while it rained on it a couple weeks ago. Fairway Cafe update, as of November 10th, we closed the cafe pretty much for the golf season. We haven't set any kind of date or talked about when we would want to reopen in the spring, but we would love to put it out there if there's someone who would like to run a restaurant. We have a great location and a working restaurant that would be available, so maybe someone else would come along and be interested in leasing and running a restaurant now that we've got everything up to code and clean and ready. But we did have a good year. If you'll look on your financials, the very last page of the financials is the same one that I put up top. I went and printed out just the April through October. Of course, we'll have a little bit in November with some catering that we did there at the end. But all in all, it wasn't a huge loss for the year. We were given permission, $25,000 from the commissioners to kind of put into the capital improvement, so I moved that down into the line. And again, we'll have some sales from the first 2 weeks of November that will hit their final. I think it'll end up showing about a $7,000 loss for that first year. But I think for most businesses and restaurants, that's pretty small for just getting started. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens for next year. Update on the accounting firm. So we know that in the near future that the lady that works in our office and who has been there 39 years has been talking about retirement. She does the majority of our accounting work. She's not an accountant or a CPA, but she's been basically running the program that they've used for all these years. In looking forward and having the problems that we've had in finding someone to audit our books, I have reached out to a local accounting firm, which is Ballard Accounting. They have a local office as well as several other offices in Arkansas. And we are looking into bringing them in to pretty much do monthly closeout of our books, make sure that our accounting practices are what they're supposed to be. They believe that SID is not required by law to do audits, that unless we can find an ordinance or overseeing our books, doing our financial statements. What I'm providing y'all are income and expense reports. They're not balance sheets. They're not a full financial statement because Chris doesn't know how to do those. That's not something that she's been able to prepare in the past. So they come in this last week on Thursday. We sat down and talked about what we do and how we move forward. And I think probably the first of the year, they will be an accounting firm that we will go to for take the place of that position and help us with our financials.
What's the name of it again?
Ballard Accounting, Ballard, Ballard Accounting. They have an office in that Flash. They actually came in with some people, we work with Square. Square is our point of sale system at the golf courses. We use Square for the restaurant. We pay monthly sales tax. Chris is through for 39 years, manually pulled our little paper receipts every day and figured out what those sales tax are. We can pull those reports from our Square system and do that. It's so much easier, which is the direction we're going to move forward, is using the technology, using our software, and getting those reports and things that we need. We changed over to Paychex to do our payroll system earlier, and they'll be able to take care of all of our dues. So, using those things are going to take all those manual processes that Chris has been doing for 39 years, will be merged in and taken care of in a much easier, efficient process. I'll know more about that next month. Like I said, we met on Thursday. They've taken a lot of our information. They've run reports from Sage, which was the old software program before we went to the new program. They will be able to take all of our assets and rebuild our balance sheets and make sure that our information is correct, depreciation is being done correct. They're just going to be able to give us that professional accounting that we don't have, and not being able to be audited is a concern for me.
You get with our lawyers, do we pay the municipalities anything at all, part of that?
For legal?
Yeah.
No.
For questions, for legal questions, like,
No.
because I can't believe a SID by law is not required to be audited. There's got to be something out there. We've got to find out.
Well, it's the quasi-government, is what the SID is. And Mr. Ballard has several SIDs that he does bookkeeping for. And this was something he said, unless there is a bylaw that this SID has adopted, that it's required. He said it's a good practice, and they could have just said this is what we're going to do. But unless it's a bylaw that's been adopted, then it's not required. So we have 2 years that haven't been audited. 2024 will be the 3rd year. 2019 wasn't audited. That was the year that the company in Little Rock bowed out. They had done audits for 7 years. We went back and did 20 and 21 with McKinsey forensic auditors out of Miami, Florida, because we couldn't find anyone who wanted to touch anything to do with us for obvious reasons. So I should know more about cost, what they're going to perform, when they can do it before the next meeting. But I did meet with them. They came to our office, went through some of our stuff, spent several hours with us, with Chris, myself. So hopefully we're going to be able to come back with some great.
You'll have a report for us next month, right?
Correct. 2025 budget update. I touched a little bit earlier on that I've been working on it. I use a lot of actual numbers when it comes to the income for, annual dues and golf green fees and, some of those big ticket items. Of course, I can't really go forward with anything unless we determine what that levy percentage will be. But one of the other things that the gentleman brought to our attention about our golf course is that the golf course itself is not insured. The buildings are, the cart sheds are, the maintenance shops are, and the North Golf What I believe has happened is that through the years, because the municipal league has not come out and reassessed or evaluated, is that they've depreciated over all these years. And that now we're down to the point we don't have enough insurance to cover if a storm came through and took all these beautiful trees out and took out our fairways or our greens. You know, they said greens went for $25,000 a green times 18. So we will be looking at probably a 10 times increase on our premium for each golf course. So something that I'm still working on. The other thing I want to say about the budget, two things I want to say about the budget. In the past, this is my fourth budget that I've done for SID. And in the past, I've put my budgets together, I've gone out, I've got my bids, I've done my stuff, and I've presented y'all with budgets. And if you had questions or things that we needed to go through or work down, that's what we've done. This year, I came in with the bids from the lawn care because of all of the back chatter and conversation. I'd like to prepare our budgets, and then we go back and look if there's things that y'all want to cut, like we've always done it. I think that I have opened the can of worms. I do not want to sit up here and talk bad about our vendors or future vendors. I trust that just as we've done in the past, that we look at the numbers and we determine what's going to be best for what we're paying for. And so I would like to not discuss the lawn care bid and let me finish putting our budget together, and then if we need to come back and discuss it at the next meeting, let's do that.
Okay. The lawn care, is that sort of, is it expired at the end of the year?
End of December. And again, I've spoken to our lawn care person, so.
Anything else?
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, at this time, we'll open the mic up again to property owners, commissioners for 3 minutes. You're all welcome.
Well, I'm going to say something.
Say something.
Say so.
I've heard that there is a special event that's going to happen for every single person in this room. And it's on Thursday, and a turkey comes in and says, gobble, 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 and I hope y'all have a wonderful Thanksgiving. That's all I know.
Property owners, do we need an executive?
Before it was Lake Committee, now it's the property owner. When you guys had the leak on Omaha fixed last year, whoever fixed it left the sandbag still in the lake. So she was talking about sandbagging until they could work on the spillway. I understand that, that's how it's going to have to be. I mean, it is. But we need to make sure they remove what they put in.
You got that?
We put those sandbags in.
Okay.
If nobody made a repair, we identified that area and was trying to stop the water when that engineer came last year. So we could open it and inspect, and then close it off and inspect, and then it quit leaking. So you're right, we should have gone back and got our
I
sandbags.
just want to make sure we don't put stuff in and actually take it out.
Anybody else? Are we in need of executive session? Well, then I need a motion to adjourn. I got a motion from Ron. Second. Second, all those in favor? Opposed? Adjourned. Call the meeting, Cherokee Village SID, November meeting to order. Please silence your phones and keep all comments for when we have our comment section. Before and after we have our business meeting. So with that, we'll call, please, Betsy.
Joe Cosner,